Welcome, everyone, to today's broadcast of Kingdom Keys to Business Success. I'm so excited to introduce to you today's speaker, Summer Dey. Summer is a global faith revivalist, award-winning TV host, speaker, coach, and 6 times author. As a founder of Fear into Faith, she empowers thousands to rise up, own the spotlight, and boldly walk into their kingdom calling. With over 20 years of entrepreneurial success, Summer ignites purpose and passion wherever she speaks, raising bold voices for the kingdom. Thank you so much for being here, Summer. It is such an honor to have you on the show.
Natalie, you're so fabulous. Thanks for asking me and letting me hang out with you. You're reading my bio, and I was like, wow, who's that? I want to meet her.
Crazy how it just sneaks up on you, huh? Like, wow,
Right?
so amazing. Yeah, I'm so excited to hear all about it. I would love for you to just start with kind of how you started, how God called you into entrepreneurship.
Oh, yes. Well, I tell people, I'm just a girl who gives God her yes, tries to give God my yes every day. And all of my business success, ministry success, 6-time author, 3-time TV show host, like every single thing that has happened to me over the last 5.5 years, all came from the biggest, most radical surrender to God in my life. And I always tell people, if you want to do more for the kingdom and all the things, just how can you say yes to God quicker and bigger? Really, that's just kind of it. So my surrender came in the form of the Lord told us to sell everything, pick up your mat and walk. And
Oh,
into
wow.
an RV. And he said, have no roots, no time frame, no destination, Natalie. So I had no idea
Wow.
uh, how long we were going to be gone, where we were going, and what exactly we were doing. But he gave me a vision of my kids praying for people on the side of the road. And he said, I'm sending your whole family into ministry. Your whole family will lead people to the Lord. So that was August of 2019. If y'all remember this thing called COVID lock-in, right? That was just about 6 months after, or no, sorry, May. And then COVID lock-in was March, right? And so we walked in blind obedience, told the whole world what we were doing. And
Wow.
COVID hits, and my husband loses the income we're supposed to travel on, and we can't even have garage sales. I mean, we were in the middle of having garage sales, selling all of our stuff. We can't sell our stuff anymore.
Nope. Yeah.
And the Lord is just like, he had told us that we would leave August 1st. And so we just kept pushing forward, having zero idea what we were going to do or what it meant to go into ministry. And during that time when COVID hit, I was finishing reading the Bible cover to cover. My goal was to do it in a year. I did it in 2. I was very proud of myself because that's a really large book to read if you've never read it before.
Yeah.
When I finished, though, Natalie, the Lord said, hey, your goal was a year. You remember that? So go ahead and do it again, but this time hit your goal. And I'm sure, Natalie, you know that I was obedient right away. I did not argue. I'm totally kidding. I argued with God. Did not want to do it. I don't know who, if you're watching this and you've ever not do something that God asked you to do, dragged your feet out of me. So for 2 months, I just kept saying no. And he relentlessly pursued me. And so finally I negotiated with God. And let me just tell y'all, you better be careful. God, because I decided to have the grand idea to do a Facebook Live and find 5 women that would read the Bible with me to be my accountability partners. And I was really excited, Natalie, when 20 women said yes.
So nice.
Like, wow, 25 will finish. And my video started to go a little viral because those women started to share it with their friends, who shared it with their friends, who shared it with their friends. And 2.5 weeks later, we had 6,700 women in a Facebook group to read the Bible with me. And I was terrified. I was freaking out. I think that sounds exciting to most people. To me, it was like the Moses moment of like, I cannot lead the people. I was not raised in the church. I was raised Mormon until I was 13. P.S. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a pastor's wife. I've never been in a Bible study, so I don't even know what to do. But, they always say God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called.
Wow, that's so true. Yeah.
He was just there and he gave me a vision and he said, look, I just don't need you to interpret scripture. Just encourage these women to finish. And I said, how do I do that? And he gave me a vision that I would host a conference at the end of the year. And then the women could come from all over the world and finish reading the end of Revelation out loud. And if you're taking notes right now, as you should,
Wow.
Natalie's whole summit, you should be taking notes, but just write this down. Leave the how to God. Leave the how to God. I had no
Yeah.
idea how to host a Christian conference. I'd never been to a Christian conference.
Yeah.
So, but I knew when the year would end. And so we did. We hosted our first live event with a couple hundred people in the room, about that many on Zoom. I didn't know at the time, but that was pretty big for our first
Yeah.
conference. And
Yeah.
and what I thought was a 1-year assignment has now, we just finished year 5. We launched year 6. And from all of that came my 7-figure coaching business, came the 6 books. 5 of them are Bible study journals. I always tell people I became an accidental best-selling author because there was no book to lead these women through the Bible cover to cover in a year. Literally, no
Yeah.
one could find one.
Yeah.
And so we started writing our own reading plan, our own journal questions, our own everything. And towards the end of the year, people were saying, "Oh, you got to put it in a book and release it for year 2." To which I was like, "What do you mean year 2? What you talking about, Willis? No year 2." And so that journal became a bestseller. And then what do you think the women wanted next, Natalie?
Yeah, I got to keep it going.
They need one for their husband.
Oh, there you
So then
go.
we had to do another one, and then year 3, another one. And then we finally released it in Spanish. And so it's just been like this wild ride. And then a TV show
Yeah.
producer in Dallas heard that we were reading the Bible on social media every day and said it had to be a TV show. So that's how the whole TV show thing
Wow.
happened. And we produced 10 years of TV. We produced the first of its kind visual telling of the Bible, where you can see, if I brought you in the studio, Natalie, and you were reading about Moses running into the desert, everybody would see you reading the Bible. And then through green screen, they see everything that you're reading come to life.
So
It's just
cool.
so
Yeah.
cool. So, yeah, it's called the Global Bible Revival. So everything that happened was just always a continuation of continuing to say yes to God. I mean, I was terrified to host that first event. I had no idea how to become a self-published author. I didn't know how to do the TV show, none of the things, but I continued to just, say yes and leave the how to God. And also, most importantly, putting him first in my life. Spending
Yeah.
time with him, spending time in his word. And I know that you're big about that, Natalie. You're big about people taking that time to encounter God.
Yeah.
If we want more from him and more from the kingdom, he wants us to give him more. He wants us to give him his big, bold yes. And
Yeah.
the more people do that, the more friends I have and people I have that give God a big yes, like he shows up big. It's crazy what he will do if you meet him in the craziness.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a mind-blowing, crazy story.
It's
You just
pretty.
so cool though that obedience just manifested itself into
Yeah.
a beautiful, successful business. And I mean, how did you kind of to rewind? How did you even take the first step of like, did you always hear from God? Because how did you know that was actually him talking to you? Because you're like,
That's
am
a
I crazy?
great question. No, I didn't always hear from God, and I feel like faith is a muscle like anything else, right? Like, how do you get good at playing the piano? Well, you learn, you read a book, you practice, you have somebody who's done it before who tutors you, right? I feel like faith is the same way. Like, if you want to walk in bold faith, you want to walk in miracles and signs and wonders, you got to flex your faith. I mean, Natalie, I just got back from being invited to the Dominican Republic and getting to preach there and getting to see like a 10-year-old boy, his ear was
Oh,
healed. A lady with a cane left the stage without her cane, and all of these beautiful and amazing things. It didn't like start overnight, right?
yeah.
I was terrified to pray for anybody. I was terrified to pray on a Facebook Live. Oh my gosh, no, Lord, don't make me do that. But
Yeah.
he would nudge me and I would say yes. And he'd nudge me bigger and I would say yes. And he'd then nudge me bigger. So I tell people, like, if you want to lay hands on people and see miracles, go pray for 1,000 people and expect nothing. Go see what God will do if you're willing to walk up to 1,000 strangers and say, I'd love to pray for you. I feel like God would want me to pray for you. And you just pray for them and you leave the results to him, because that's what flexing that faith
Wow.
muscle
Yeah.
is. And I promise you, he whispers. And when you listen to the whisper, and faith without works is dead, right? If you do the works, he's looking for someone to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And if you show him that you will do it, he'll give you a bigger assignment, and he'll give you a
Yeah.
bigger assignment. So I just tell people, if you feel like you're hearing from the Lord and you're like, how do I know if it's me or God? In 1 Corinthians, it talks about how words are to build up and edify and encourage. So if you think you're hearing from the Lord, that's your checks and balance. Sometimes when I tell
Yeah.
people, I feel like the Lord's saying this, well, how do you know? I go, is it going to edify, encourage, and build this person up? If it is, then I'm going to tell them that. And if it happens to be from me and not the Lord, I'm pretty sure he's still proud of me for encouraging and edifying and building somebody
Yeah.
up. And so I've learned literally, I feel the Lord in my body in certain ways when I just know that it's him. Like if I know
Yeah.
he's telling me to do something and I'm resisting, I'll feel like fire head to toe in my body. If I resist enough, he's like, fire of God
Oh,
in this
wow.
body going, you better move right now. So I think it's a beautiful dance of, as I've continued to grow in my faith and continue to say yes when I'm terrified, which by the way, you guys, my spiritual mom is 85. She's preached, prayed, prophesied, healed the sick, raised the dead all over the world. And I asked her, when did you stop being nervous to pray for people? When
Yeah.
did you stop boldly praying, but hearing that voice in the back of your head saying, you better stop, because when that little girl's not healed, this whole church's faith is on the line. And what do you think you're doing? And who do you think you are? When does that
Wow.
voice stop? You know what she said, Natalie? You won't be surprised. She said, oh, that still happens to me.
Oh,
I
man.
use it
Wow.
as my radar that I'm on the right track. So if you're waiting to not be afraid, if you're waiting to just be bold and
Yeah.
courageous, like it's just feel the fear and do it anyway. Shift your
Yeah.
fear into faith and take the bold action, and know that that little voice is the enemy of your soul, hates your guts. He
Yeah.
doesn't want you to go do the things. And so stop waiting to be ready, to feel ready. Just go be the hands and feet of Jesus. Go pray for strangers. Go be radical for the Lord, and then he'll just want to use you more and more and more.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know who that word was for, but it was definitely for me, for sure.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
We, as speakers, we try to just speak to the one. So nailed it. Yay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just having bold faith. I mean, I can imagine that maybe once you said yes and you didn't like burn up in flames, but you actually, it felt good or something good came of it. It's like, okay, I can do it again. And you kind of see that it works out. Like he's not just throwing you to the wolves. He's actually doing something that's going to
Oh,
probably,
that's so good that
you
you
know,
said that. What I would hear in my heart all the time is, the Lord will not make a fool of his servant. If I'm being real
mm,
with you, when this lady with a cane came down to get prayer from me in front of this church I preached at, and we had already seen a couple of miracles, that 10-year-old boy and other things. I saw her coming down, fear fell upon me, and I'm sitting there going, oh, no, Lord, no, 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 no. Because when a woman with a cane is not healed, it's very obvious. Don't make me do this. And
yeah.
then I heard that gentle whisper, I will not make a fool of my servant. And
Wow.
so the Lord will not make a fool of you. Is everybody healed? No. But a lot of times this guy with his face wasn't healed, but his heart was healed. And that's what
Yeah.
God wanted to do. Our job is just to plant the seeds of faith and be bold, and the Lord will bring the increase in the harvest however he decides. And he
Yeah,
takes the
that's so
pressure
good.
off of it. My job
Yeah.
was to pray for that woman and go, okay, Lord, how do you want to show up for her? And be excited when he showed up and she got rid of her cane. That was pretty fabulous.
Yeah, that is really amazing. But I love that. I've never heard anyone say that, but it's very reassuring that he's setting you up for success, not trying to just,
Yeah,
embarrass
God's not messing around. He's not like a bully on the
you.
playground trying to get you to do things. Like he wants you to be wildly successful. And I think he wants kingdom people to be wildly successful in the marketplace, to make a lot of money. Like, let's just break that stigma, the
Yeah,
religious spirit of like, money is the root of all evil. No, the love of money is the root of all evil when you're consumed with the love of money. But when you're somebody like you, Natalie, with a great heart, or somebody who wants to, like, if you're not sitting around going, I want to get my sixth Lamborghini and my big mansion. No, you want to go help women get out of trafficking and go feed the poor. And who else can I serve? Like, money is a tool that he uses. So I love that you're bringing together
yeah,
7, 8 figure entrepreneurs, because we got to raise up more 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs for the kingdom. So if you're listening right now and you've been
Yeah.
made to feel bad that you have a desire in your heart to make a lot of money, God put it there. And don't let anybody make you feel guilty, because you are not consumed with the love and the pursuit of greed and money. No, you're called to make money for those who don't have the ability, so you can go take care of the widow and go
Yeah.
take care of the orphan and do the things that God's called you to do. Go put people on a mission trip. It takes funds to fund the kingdom projects. So we need
Right.
y'all to make funds.
Right. Absolutely. Hallelujah to that for sure. We need, yeah, the resources come when you have the money. So yeah, it's so true. It's not like we have to do everything for free, but
No, we incense
having
do
the
that.
resources, as long as you have your heart is right
That's
with
why
it.
I love
It's
that
all
you're
from
doing this.
God, you know.
I love that
Yeah.
you're doing this because you have a heart to see people in the kingdom succeed financially. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I would love to know how the speaking part happened. How did you end up speaking?
Yes, it's another crazy part of my journey. I don't know if y'all paid attention to like Grant Cardone and Pete Vargas. They came
Yeah.
out with the Great American Speak Off a couple
Mhm.
years ago. And if you didn't hear of it, it was like American Idol for speakers. They had over 70,000 people submit, try out, show up, and then they cut it down to 150 golden ticket winners, and then down to the top 30, and then down to the top 12. And I actually got all the way to the top 12. I was one of
Wow.
3 women left in the whole competition, and they took 1 woman to the finals. So I had like a 1 in 3 chance of getting into
Well,
the
that's
finals. And
amazing.
it was crazy. And it happened during a season of my life. So if you rewind the tape a little bit, I was actually born and raised in Los Angeles, California.
Oh,
And
really?
I was on stage since I was 3 years old. I did my first international tour to London at 14, went internationally to Russia at 17. And then I started directing when I was 18 years old. And so I directed for decades, and I put over 20,000 performers on stages in Los Angeles, California. And I thought that was all I was ever going to do in my life. And if you
Ah.
paid attention to my story, I actually got betrayed and my company got stolen from me.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I want you to know that everything that I am today and all of the accolades, getting in the finals, author, all the things came from the worst betrayal of my whole life, where in 22 minutes,
Wow.
everything I worked for my whole life, everything I thought I was and wanted to be was stolen from me by
Wow.
people that claimed they loved me, that I trusted and I put on as my board of directors. And
Wow.
so I showed up at a board meeting staring in the faces of betrayal as they stole everything from me and gave me no reason, no nothing. And I left that 22-minute board meeting completely, utterly destroyed, did not know who I was, suffered severe depression, all the things. And this was just months after the Lord told me I was going to go into ministry. I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I didn't know what else to do with my life. I
Mhm.
really was really lost and broken. And the only other thing that I wanted to do was be a speaker. I took my first speech class in my freshman year of high school, and they say, more people are afraid of public speaking than death. And you're like, well, actually, I kind of like having a microphone in my hand. So when everything was stolen, I just thought, okay, I guess I want to be a speaker. And so when I started pursuing speaking, I started hearing about this thing called coaching. And then I thought, I think I could do that. I've learned some pretty powerful stuff in my life that I think I could package into a program. And so I launched my coaching business literally April of 2020 when COVID hit. I launched my coaching business at the exact same time that the Lord told me to read the Bible. Like everything was all tied up in a little bow. And I didn't know. I made 6 figures my first 6 months as a coach. I had my first 6 figure day on month 8 as a coach, but I didn't
Wow.
know that that was a big deal. I had no idea that that was a very rare, like 1% of all coaches kind of thing. I had no idea about any of that. And so I started becoming a speaker. And then my coaching program is called Fear into Faith Academy, where I was helping women, that are stuck in the fears. That's what's keeping them back. And they're not able to
Yeah.
move forward in that bold faith and become an
Yeah.
author or become a kingdom entrepreneur or do
Yes.
things. And I was helping them to get unstuck. And I loved it. Natalie, what do you think happened when I started healing all these women and getting them boldly forward in their calling? They
Yeah.
all wanted to be speakers.
They wanted to be like
Like,
you. They're like,
teach us to be like you. Can you teach
yeah,
us to speak? And I
yeah,
thought, well, I wonder if instead of, taking a young performer and teaching her how to be Belle in Beauty and the Beast, could I teach Natalie to be Natalie, where the script is her stories from her life, her zone of genius, and I help her write it. We package it. I teach her how to be charismatic and in her delivery and engage with an audience. I wonder what that would be like. And so I beta tested with 3 girls who had never spoken on stage before, virtually coached them for 6 months, and then they got to speak at my next conference and they crushed it. They were amazing. One friend's like, you took this introvert woman and made her better than your paid keynote. What did you do? And I was like,
yeah,
oh. And so I actually love working with speakers more than actors, because when the girl would get the applause for being Belle, that's great. Or maybe she sang so good you cried. But when my client Shauna got the audience to cry because of her story and because of her message, where the next thing I know, my 15-year-old daughter raises her hand and is bawling her eyes out saying, you just changed my life. You just got me to
wow,
rethink. She'd been miserable at school and she had had all these problems at school. And here's my own daughter being reached by a speaker's message. And I always tell speakers, like, you have to become a speaker because there's 8 billion people and I can't reach them fast enough.
yeah,
I
yeah,
need you to reach who God's called you to reach with your message. And here was Shauna shaking the very heart of my own daughter in my house who needed to hear Shauna's message. I really believe that the Lord is calling people right now. There's a world that needs to hear your message. They don't need to
yeah,
hear Summer Day again. They don't need to hear Natalie. They need to hear you. And so
yeah.
once I saw that, believe it or not, that level of success, I still doubted whether or not I should do it. And then the Lord brought in the Great American Speak Off, and I get all the way to the top 12. And I felt like that was the Lord saying, you are as good as
Yeah.
you think you want to be. And I've always been a better teacher. I've always felt like I could teach people and
Yeah.
duplicate that. And so that was about 2-ish years ago. And now I've just been like wildly crazy in love with coaching speakers, especially for the kingdom, because when you get really good at speaking, you have the power of presence. You can use it for good or evil.
Yes.
I want to put
Yeah.
swords in the mouth of those that will boldly take stages to move forward the kingdom. And so I just love working with kingdom entrepreneurs. I love helping people to become confident. Whether they're brand new and they've never spoken, or my client Amy was like a top earner in network marketing. They were flying her all over to speak in front of thousands of people. The problem was she always felt like she was going to throw up, and she
Yeah.
hated it. She literally hated it, and she kept getting
Yeah.
asked to do it and asked to do it. And so
Like,
she came to work with me, and now she's just confident and she loves it. She's not dreading it and terrified. And so
yeah.
I just want to help people to walk in the bold confidence and courage of who God called them to be, pull that out of their DNA and help them to craft that into their keynote that really changes the world.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautiful story. So crazy how it all connected together, like in a woven story that like the pieces were all there, but they just needed to be put together. Like
Because
this is,
God's kind of
you
crazy like
know,
that.
yeah, it really is. Sometimes you have to go be in the cave or in the wilderness, or you have to go
Yes.
through those dark times in order to come out the other side. And in that journey, before we have to wrap up, I actually would love to hear, because I mean, you went through this horrible betrayal.
Yeah.
How did God help you through that?
Um, Man, a couple things. One is I always tell people, like, you become who you spend your time with. And it
Um,
it actually liberated me out of this one environment, and it took me into a new one. I was really betrayed by a lot of friends, people I thought were friends. And so I ended up in a whole new community when all of these women came to read the Bible with me. And my like ride or die friends are all people that I've met in these last few years, or they're people like my best friend of forever. She comes in from Los Angeles and helps run my events, but they're very entwined in what God's doing. And so I feel like somebody's got to be listening to this, and you just walked through your own betrayal. Just know, like, God kept telling me you're welcome. I was so mad. I'd be so frustrated and crying about losing everything. And he's like, "You're welcome." I'm like, "What? That's cruel." But he kept telling me that I knew I would thank him one day
Yeah.
for whatever he allowed to occur. And so it's making sure I surrounded myself with the right people. You will become who you spend your time with. And so you need to look at who are the people you're hanging out with. Are they making the income that you want? Do they have the marriage that you want? Are they inspiring? If you're the most ambitious person in your friend group, I'm not saying ditch all your friends. I'm just saying you may need to get in some bigger rooms, and you may need to
Yeah.
have some mentors and some leaders, somebody like Natalie to come alongside of you and push you to that next level. And he sent me really great, 9-figure earner mentors and other people,
Yeah.
spiritual mom, and then just a really solid community that believes in me and holds me higher. So the community was the first. And the second really important thing was I had to forgive. I also had to reprogram the way I was speaking about it. I was in severe depression, but I kept talking about it all the time. I had to stop. Romans
Yeah.
4:17 says, calling the things that are not into being the things that are. I had to be careful of what I was calling into
Yeah.
my life. And I had to shift out of that and start to speak all the things that I wanted to see, speak the blessings, and continue to do all the things God put in front of me, totally terrified. And so God will rebuild you. He won't leave you hanging. You just got to
Yeah.
trust him. You got to trust
Yeah.
that he said, "I heard the conversations behind closed doors that you didn't hear." And I'm really grateful for that betrayal now. I'm really grateful
Yeah.
for who I am today.
Yeah.
So honored to be traveling internationally and being used by the Lord so tremendously. And I never wanted to be a preacher. I was never going to write a Bible study. Like I was never going to do any of the things that I'm doing today. And I feel like so certain that I'm walking out who he called me to be, but I had to be that like butterfly stuck in the cocoon. I had to go
Yeah.
through a lot of growing pains. I'm always going through more growing pains. And so just trust that he's going to mold you into more than you can possibly imagine. And it's okay to cry and it's okay to grieve. Just make sure you walk in forgiveness. You're careful of what you're saying, and you get yourself mentors and leaders
Yeah.
and a strong friend group that will hold you higher. That is the key.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. That's so important. It's all tied together. Just not only is partnering with God so important for your business, but it's for your own healing journey because those are
Yes.
tied together too. I mean, you can't
Mm-hmm.
have a completely like in shackles and on the floor crying and just being depressed and then have a thriving business. It just doesn't work out. So
Yeah.
you have to allow him to heal you and then elevate you. It's all kind of one
I would
journey.
say yes, seeking out and making sure that you're healed.
Um,
I've seen a lot of business kingdom entrepreneurs and stuff, and they're not taking care of the roots of getting healed.
yeah.
The roots of getting healed, the roots of forgiveness, all that stuff. You can't build
One
on a house
thing.
of cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for sharing your amazing story.
You're
I just feel like it's such a testimony to having faith and having and being obedient and just, like wow, what God can do when you really just trust him. So
Yeah,
so
just do it
amazing.
scared, but do it. They say only
Yeah.
8% of people are accomplish their dreams ever, only 8% ever. Like
Wow.
if you want to do the things, you have to just do the things. You have to do them scared, you have to do them messy,
Yeah.
you have to do them half done. You have to be afraid, not be afraid to fail. It's okay to suck. I tell my clients that all the time. Like, go on stage, be horrible. Like that's how you get better. Show up and do your video homework and be the worst student
Yeah.
I ever had. That's okay. Or will you be the hardest working student I ever had? Will you continue to play that
Yeah.
piano and practice until you get it down? Because I believe you can. I believe,
Yeah.
speaking and business and writing a book, it's all skills, practice, and doing the work. So
Yeah. Don't give up. Don't give up.
I know we
Love it.
talked about if it blesses your audience, I just released a brand new training for, kingdom
Yes.
entrepreneurs that want to grow in their speaking skills, which I think every kingdom entrepreneur should continuously be growing in their speaking skills and
Yeah.
their communication skills. Because if you're not speaking on stages, I'm telling you, if you're listening to this, God's calling you to a microphone. He's calling you to a podcast. He's calling you to a
Yeah.
TV show, whatever it is, your level to communicate your story and your message, as an author, as whatever, it will always be tied to your growth in your business, your ability to communicate that. And so that's what I'm really passionate about. I created a new training. It's called Crush Your Keynote. And it's got those basics of how do you put that all together? How do you start? How do you move past the fear? So I want to bless your audience with that, just for showing up and watching and hopefully sitting up, paying attention, writing notes, all this stuff.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
so,
That's so amazing. So exciting. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it can help you in so many ways. It's a
yeah.
must. It's a must have.
Agree,
Yeah.
agree, agree. And then, do you want me to share about
Yeah,
your
and if you also
VIPs?
happen to grab the VIP package, she's going to give an amazing bonus in the VIP package too.
Well, and if you didn't grab VIP, like grab VIP. How
Yeah,
much is your VIP?
it's $47. It's on
Oh
sale.
my,
Grab it.
oh
The
my
link is
gosh,
below.
like that's a no-brainer price. So yes, grab your VIP. We have a fiery conference. We just did it in September. It's called Faith on Fire, and it was so powerful. It was such a profound move of God that we're actually doing it again as a virtual conference. And we just know God is going to move on his people, set people free, deliver people, heal people. I mean, that little 10-year-old boy was healed. I believe the Lord can heal people just like that on a virtual too. So
Yeah.
if you've
Mhm.
been hungry to get your faith set on fire, we're going to bless a free ticket to that to those of you who have the VIP. So if you didn't get VIP,
Mhm.
go grab that right now, because literally you're going to get more than if you just bought a ticket to our
Yeah,
conference. But yes,
right.
I'd love to
Right.
bless your people, because you guys, when you invest, if you invest that $47, you are sowing seeds of faith in your kingdom business, and that's a big deal. So go sow the seeds.
Yes, absolutely. And who knows? You could get healed, you get delivered, you could get a new business idea. I mean, miracles can
Yes.
happen when we all come together and just praise the Lord and let Him work through us. So thank you so much, Summer. You're amazing. I'm so happy that I got to meet you and you got to be on the show.
Yes,
It's been
thank you for
wonderful.
asking me. I really appreciate it. As soon as I saw what you were doing, I could just tell there was really good alignment with here. And I always want to be helping, kingdom entrepreneurs to go next level. And I think you have such a heart. And I love that you have a heart to help people, to give them tools, to give them resources on how they can kind of spend more time with God, how they can prioritize that in their business. There's a lot of people that say they're for the kingdom and they're sadly not for the kingdom.
Right.
But you're really wanting to make that a focus of people's business. So if you guys are here, you're just in really good hands. And I pray that you lean in to what Natalie has for you. I pray that you lean into what the speakers have for you. And you don't just let this be something that's on a to-do list that sits on your shelf, but that you take action from this summit.
Yeah, absolutely. The more, I mean, your story and some of the others, it's clear that when you partner with God, He favors you in so many ways. So,
Come on.
yeah.
Come on. God has told us so many times in the Bible not to fear, so many times in the Bible to be bold and courageous. You want the formula for being a strong kingdom entrepreneur? Shift out of fear, be bold and courageous. Whatever he's asking you to do, just do it bold and courageous and go do all the wild things for the kingdom.
Let's go. Yeah, absolutely. We will be here with
Woo!
you guys. If you do it, we will be here with you. So, thank you so much for being here again,
Thank you for
Summer. And
having me.
everyone, make sure you jump on that freebie speaker training and buy the VIP package. Get to that conference. It's going to be amazing. Thanks so much for showing up today, and tune in tomorrow. We're going to have another amazing kingdom speaker giving you awesome kingdom tips. So come back in tomorrow. Check your emails for that video. And I just want to end by saying you're blessed to build, called to serve, and grace to prosper. Partner with God, and you will have amazing success. Until tomorrow. Bye, everybody.